Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Mark McPherson. An update tonight from Madison Police in the investigation surrounding allegations at Whitehorse Middle School. Police now say there's no evidence to support claims that staff members assaulted a student. WMTV's Shayna Najawan joins us live in the newsroom with what investigators are saying tonight. Shayna.
MPD says detectives found no indication of any assault between two staff members and a student and are urging the public to stop spreading false information online. The department says detectives reviewed school surveillance video, interviewed staff, and spoke with neighbors in the area where the alleged assault happened. The student was wearing a GPS tracker at the time, which showed a location on Margaret Street in Madison. According to MPD, video cameras at Whitehorse Middle School show the student and alleged suspects in the building at the same time of the alleged assault, and staff members interviewed say the suspects did not leave. Investigators say the GPS signal was likely wrong due to what's called GPS drift, when a tracker briefly gives an inaccurate location because of a weak or blocked signal. As detectives worked through the case, they say misinformation shared online not only fueled confusion, but also prompted threats. In an updated release, MPD said, quote, "These social media posts in turn drove some to make serious threats to staff members at Whitehorse Middle School. There is an abundance of evidence that demonstrates these staff members were not involved in any type of assault or wrongdoing. These threats must stop." End quote. MPD is continuing to investigate and say anyone found making threats toward staff will be held accountable. Live in the newsroom, Shayna Najawan, WMTV 15 News.
All right, Shayna, thank you. MMSD says it's continuing its own internal review. Police expect to close their investigation soon.